This fucking crazed jet pilot with red eyes
Fucking shut up.
comes out of nowhere and goes.
And there is some words of wisdom from Benny Hotnuts right there for you. So welcome back to Battlefield 3. It has been quite some time since I've done a proper Battlefield 3 video. Would you call this one a proper video? I'm not sure. I'm doing a commentary for it, so I would class it as a proper video, but all the content in this video is Choppa gameplay. I'm the gunner, and Benny is a very good pilot, and you can see this because he outscores me and I'm the gunner, right? So just goes to show that a very good chopper pilot can outdo a average gunner. So I do admit I can be better in the gunner. You'll see me getting quite a lot of assists when I should be getting, you know, triples and stuff, but that's because I was a bit of an idiot and I was just like holding down the trigger going, "Oh, why would you die?" when I should have really burst fire it, you know, because choppers, you should really burst fire the stuff, apart from the missiles, you know. Send one out, and then send the rest out when you know your target's hit. And then reload, obviously. But I'll go into actual piloting in another video, because I've been practicing. I'm not great, okay? I would say I'm nearly, maybe, kinda average. But then again, average pilots in BF3, like, if you just take everyone and do an average on their piloting skills, I'm pretty sure the average player in that context will crash into his own grandma from 2 feet away. Okay, that's that's just pretty much how I see it. It's quite hilarious. You see people take off and they don't know how to fly them because there's no autocorrect like there was in BC2. So they just kind of take off and go, "I'm turning," and dead. And I fell prone to that quite a few times when I was learning, because I was like, why won't it go back? And it turns out I had to do it manually. So yeah, but choppers they're very fun to fly. Like, once you get the hang of it, once you get the basics down, then you can go into an empty server and then try and do more advanced things. I'll try and get some, like I said, I'll try and get some pilot footage of me being the pilot, but it's one thing being in an empty server. It's another, you know, actually being in a combat situation against another pilot, against all the people trying to lock onto you from the ground, being shot at from jets and sea rams and jerks. It's just it's very different. So whilst it's good to go in an empty server to practice maneuvers like hovering, basically hovering, capturing flags when you need to, and getting as close to the ground as possible, because that is very important. It's quite funny because I can relate to Johnny English. If anyone's seen the second film, if you haven't, I'm sorry, there will be spoilers. So yeah, but in the film, he gets in a helicopter and he's like, "Oh, it's been a while," and they have to find a hospital and such. But they decide to follow the road, and they're about 5 feet from the road, from the ground, and they're just flying around in his helicopter on the road, like queuing up with cars. It's actually ridiculous, but in Battlefield 3, that is good, alright, because it's very good to like hide from jets and such, so and plus you're under the radar, which doesn't work half the time, but what can you say? So it's good to practice that. It's good to practice turning and doing all these awesome things, and good to practice your ECM if you've unlocked it, because yes, you don't want to do it too late, because because I'm used to using flares, alright? I wait until something's following me, then I flare, and then, you know, it just goes off and you move. But ECM, you have to do it as they're locking on, and it takes like a second to work, so you have to kind of get it just at the right time, which is annoying. But what was I saying? I'm not really sure. My piloting, it's average, like I was saying, and next video, promise, next Battlefield 3 video will be me piloting. I'll try and get a decent gunner, but no promises. Because every time I get in, I do okay. I use the arrow keys to aim and stuff. I don't understand how people can use the mouse. Like, seriously, for jets and stuff, how do people fly with the mouse? It's actually just ridiculously, stupidly hard. I'm much better at piloting on the jet on the Xbox than I am on the PC using a mouse. It's ridiculous. But I hate jets anyway. I hardly ever fly them. I like chopper piloting, and I use the arrow keys, and it's just how I do it. It makes it a little bit more difficult to aim, so I'll get used to doing like precision aiming with the mouse and switch over between the two. So I've got a lot to practice, and I really want to become a good pilot. So you'll see some progress over the coming months, I guess, of me failing, because that's what I do if I don't have a good gunner. And half the time, like, when you are piloting, you want to have ECM. But if you're piloting with a random, right, as your gunner, yeah, you don't know if they've got flares or not. And if they do, you don't know when they're going to use them, because you can't talk to them and say, I've ECM'd, you don't need to pre-flare this or anything. You don't need to be stupid, because pre-flaring doesn't even, like, hardly works anymore. And so sometimes I'm just like, why didn't you flare? And he's like, I did, but I flared when you ECM'd. And I'm like, why? Why do you always flare when you hit a beep, 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 beep? You never flare when you're being locked. So, please, people who are gunners, unless you're in a really close combat situation and you're being locked on by a helicopter about 10 feet in front of you, do not pre-flare. Wait for the beeps. Really? Otherwise, it will hit you, you will die, and your pilot will be very, very angry. Because it's... I have perfectly good runs, you know, I kill a couple of tanks and then I'm dead because my gunner just was like, dope. Anyways, good news, I've unlocked TV missile as well, so that's a lot of fun. It's really hard to control as well with the mouse. I mean, with the joystick, I'm pretty sure it's a lot easier to control, because you've got a steady kind of, you know, when you snap back, it goes like snaps back to steady. And with the mouse, it's kind of like, whoop, whoop, whoop. You're always doing these tiny little corrections. I don't know, I've not unlocked TV missile on the Xbox, but I'm just thinking, like, if I could use the arrow keys or something, I'd be a lot more accurate. So, because my mouse, I'm always kind of like nudging it, trying to get the right one. And then once you've sped up and the helicopter moves, you're like, and you swing round. And I've killed a couple of jets with TV missiles. It's hilarious. But choppers, I go through them sometimes, which is quite annoying. So it's like, I aim for them, and I go through the helicopter getting a headshot. Like, literally, it's not a literal headshot. I mean, if, you know, physics were involved, it would have been a headshot. But it wasn't. I went through them, and that's just annoying. So, what can you do, really, though? The TV missiles, they're just so much fun, and they're the last thing you unlock for the gunner seat and attack helicopters. So, I've spent a lot of time trying to get them. And, you know, randoms, like I was saying, it's a lot harder with randoms. So I got so many points in this match, in these couple of matches when I was being the gunner for Benny. And Dutch is actually a pretty good pilot as well. Now, I usually play with the three I'm playing with now, and it's a lot of fun. We usually do good teamwork. We usually get quite frustrated sometimes when we don't win, and especially Benny. He rages like so hard. It's hilarious just watching him and listening to how he rages. But anyways, I digress. So, all I've talked about is choppering and piloting. After the patch, everybody should know, like, tanks and RPGs kill choppers in one now. And that's fine by me. I mean, that's how it was in Bad Company 2, so that's what I'm used to. And I don't see why people are complaining about it, because it's, you know, if they're a million miles away, then that's a skill shot or just plain luck. Either way, they deserve it. Okay? Unless they're cheating, bastards. If you're 5 feet from the ground and they are 10 feet from you, then you kind of deserve to get shot down because you wasn't paying attention, really. You know, it's an easy shot. And to be honest, if you get hit by an RPG, IRL, right, that's going to hurt. I don't know the sheer mechanics of how much damage it will do, like, to a helicopter in real life. You know, you'd have to ask some army flyer, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it will fuck up that machine. It's explosives, it's travelling quite fast, and it's made of metal and gunpowder and I don't know, other stuff. Don't know what it's made of, but it's made of things that hurt. And stuff that flies, whatever, you know, they usually don't stand up to stuff like that too well. I mean, with physics and all, you can easily kind of be pushed over and go against the wind, and yeah, so I'm basically not complaining about that patch. Most people are. I think it's fine. And oh, pretty rain. Oh my god, I'm not walking to work in that. Oh, I've got work in like 4
Hello,
hours,
Jet.
so hopefully the rain will stop. Otherwise, yeah. I'm not doing this stupidly early, by the way. I've got a late shift tonight, so I'll be finishing at like about midnight. So that's why I'm kind of up doing this commentary right now, because I can. And it's Battlefield, and I've missed it, because I have hardly done Battlefield content, to be honest, Battlefield 3, since it came out. And it's a lot more difficult than Bad Company 2, to be honest. PC players, you know, you get some newbie ones, you get some good games, you get some bad games, but in all, because my hard drive's filled with Minecraft at the moment, I don't press record that often. And when I am recording, it's like now, I'm usually in TeamSpeak. So I want to get content where there's no background chatter, and it's hard to kind of separate that out in fraps and stuff. So yeah, but that's the game. I've done quite well, not as good as Benny because he's just a pilot master. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with some more. Take care, guys.
I got some good jetting in that game.
I was bored to shit in that game.
Yeah, it's just an average game.
Your best indie.
No, it's good to have someone